back to PrepperNow. This is going to basically be the crisis report, but done in a verbal way because something happened with Gmail and it lost my draft. Okay. So the way I basically do it is I open up a draft email and I start to tabulate and I go over and I find the different areas of where I find stuff, the multiple channels. And I take that and I put it all down. I copy paste it into this long manuscript with links and everything else. Take all that and then I put that large manuscript into the SUBSTACK, and then from the SUBSTACK I read. But, as things are going, I'm kind of reading and checking what's what. So good to see you from Louisiana. So I'm just going to give you a summary of what happened. Now, the good news is that there isn't any kind of crazy war or anything going on in Lebanon yet. All right. There was a attack. Basically, there's some discord in the Israeli army. And there was this group of right-wingers that attacked the Israeli army. I don't even really fully understand what's going on. But anyway, there was this attack, and it was kind of showing the discord of what's going on. Israel is in a holding pattern. Basically, every country on the planet is saying, don't go in, don't attack Hezbollah, and of course, all the major people are coming out and saying, we're going to fight you, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And all of the Hezbollah are coming out and saying it, all the hardcore right-wingers in the government are saying it, and meanwhile, in the background, you've got America saying, pretty please the sugar on top, don't attack it, it's going to become a wider war if you do. And Jake Sullivan basically came out and said, you know what, we don't really think this is going to devolve into a wider war. Netanyahu government is not really happy that the Harris would-be government is coming in, potentially. So she will be the candidate, it looks like, after the nomination process at the DNC. And seems she's got full backing and all of the I guess, the kingmakers. It's not like you're an actually used democracy in Democrat land. It's Alex and George Soros who pick everything, and they basically said she's the one because she can, she'll be our little puppet. Other things going on, of course. The major story, besides, rocket attacks here and Medvedev, talking about war in the middle, SMO and threatening NATO. Turkey has caused rifts with the Israeli government. One of the guys, the foreign minister, someone came out today and basically said, you need to kick them out of NATO. And, of course, that's not going to happen. They need Turkey. Turkey controls a lot. And so, NATO is influenced by Israel, but, there's a lot of disdain there. We passed $35 trillion in debt. That happened today in America, in the country. The United Kingdom, their economy has slipped out of the top 10 industrial and best economies in the world. And so that's actually a major thing. It's quite a fall from being, the British Empire of past glory to now, not even in the top 10 economies in the world. So Starmer's come in. There's a major stabbing attack of little kids in Southampton or Southport, South something, Britain. Again, I'm just going off what I remember from reading all this. I save everything and I do things a certain way. But I was under pressure of trying to figure out a hotel booking that was in a strange place. It basically took my email and used it as the first and last name instead of my real first and last name, and it took me a while. So I don't know what happened, but I basically took the big draft and hit cancel and save, and it just disappeared. So yeah, major knife attack there. I'm not sure who was. I think one person has passed away, one child. There's another major attack in Germany. I know the one in England was done by a new neighbor, and so that's causing a lot of anger and pain. And so England's got major problems. Germany basically said, Germany said to Russia, we don't care about you starting the intermediate range tests again with your ballistic missiles. We're going to do whatever the hell we feel like, and we're not afraid of you. That's basically what they said to them. So I guess a nice mild taunting, if you will. I'm waiting to do the Venezuela thing. The Venezuela thing is coming. That's the big story. And I actually did have a big summary of everything. And then, of course, I lost this email thing. And it'll pop back up. That's the funny thing. It's done this twice before. And the thing will pop back up at a later time for whatever reason. So when it does that, I will put it into the Substack, PrepperNow.substack.com, if you want to see that. But it will. You mark my words. By the time I wake up in the morning, it'll be magically there again. Because you got to do this over many hours. I don't just sit there and work on it. I've got kids and a life and a wife and everything else, and I'm on vacation. So I go and I tabulate in free time. Kids are taking a dump in the bathroom. I look at stuff. Things are waiting on a hotel, in the lobby for whatever. I do stuff. Waiting on a restaurant, booking, I do stuff. Wife's in a coffee shop getting a coffee, I do stuff. That kind of thing. So I kind of on-go and do it all day long. That way I keep fresh, keep it all on the up and up. But right now, Hezbollah and Israel are kind of in a holding pattern. We gave another big swath of money to Ukraine. Ukraine is kind of in a holding pattern. I think they're waiting to see if Orange Man bad. And again, when I say that, I'm not making fun of Donald Trump. I'm taking fun of the people that get super butthurt whenever his name is pronounced. So Zelensky's kind of on the fence of who's going to be where, and in the meantime, of course, the powers that be in the background are giving up all the money they can to Ukraine as they squander it. There have been people like the president or prime minister of Finland came out and said it's time to negotiate a peace plan there. But they've been saying that for many months now. So we shall see on that. So grand scheme of things, new neighbors are flaring up, stabbity to little children. Ukraine's getting more cash. America is super in debt with $35 trillion. The West is basically crapping itself, and the UK is just falling out of the top 10. So that's kind of your big ultimate scheme of things. Israel, of course, is still kind of figuring out what to do, but it's going to happen, I think, at some point. But they don't want to start a regional war, so they're kind of caught. The Majd al-Shams thing, Netanyahu visited, that's another thing. So I guess that's kind of everything right there of what's going on in the world as it pertains to things. But nothing major has happened there. What has been the major story, and where I'm going to go from here, is Venezuela tonight, okay? So, of course, it came out that there was a lot of chavistas. That's what they're called. They're the pro-Maduro guys, Chavez. They went out and they basically started to attack and terrorize voting centers. Yesterday, Sunday, was the voting of Venezuela. And of course, Maduro's he's hated, he's loathed, and he's going to lose. And so he had to go out there and terrorize people. And what I think is so interesting about this is, this is what happens when leftists, he's a communist, he's been applauded by all the other communists, like the guy from Cuba, Canal. Leftism is strong arm. It's we're gonna, by any means possible. And so he's out there taking his gangs, and they're all over the place. I mean, even the place where I think Chavez was born yesterday was shown to be very much completely in the camp of Gonzalez. Gonzalez was the guy who was taking on Maduro. And, Maduro came in and said, hey, there was a cyber attack, and we can't do all the counting of the votes properly. And, of course, he blamed the West on it. Only to come out later and say, hey, good news, folks, I won. So there you go, folks. Maduro won. He is the winner. And now all the other governments in Latin America are really unhappy. And it's all of them. It's, Javier Milei. It's Noboa of Ecuador. It's, I think his name's Petro from Colombia. So all of them have this thing called the OAS. It's like the Organization of American States. Okay, it's a Latin American thing, and all the countries are a part of it, and they go out and they talk about stuff that happens in their continent. Well, basically all of them have come out and said, we denounce what has happened in Venezuela, even the leftists, for, not all of them, but some of them. And what's going on there is not correct. Maduro basically stole the election, is what they're saying. And so China has come out and thanked him. Russia has come out and thanked him. Cuba has come out and thanked him. So usual cast of characters of all the people that are the air quotes axis of evil, end quote, of America and all that, they have all come out and said, yay, Maduro, and everybody else is like, this is total horse crap. So what have the people done? Well, now the people in Venezuela are really, really pissed off. And they're now starting to take down statues. If I had internet on this sucker, and I don't because I'm in a hotel bathroom, I would take this picture of, I believe, Chavez, and you would see people tearing it down and shoving it. All of the big banners of Maduro sitting there feeding children and everything else, they've been torn down. Entire billboards have been shaken and pulled down. And now it has come out that the airport in Caracas has been overtaken by protesters. And basically the country is erupting into protest, even to the point where former drug gang leaders are coming out who used to be part of Maduro's team. Now they're coming out and saying we want them out too. And there are people that were following the counts, and they're called favelas over there. Those are their states. So they're over there and they're following them in all these favelas, and seeing about who's winning what and everything. And Gonzalo was up like 65, 70% to Maduro in basically every place that they went to. Well, Maduro wasn't having that. So he sent in his gangs. They went in and they went nuts, and they started stealing boxes. One person, I think one or two people got shot. I think one died. It was just chaos. It's what happens when you live in a communist country and the leftists take over and do what they do. It's by any means possible. And I've been thinking about this. I come on here and I talk about all this, and I think people need to understand the people that see the reason why people on the conservative side are able to coexist and not get all like super emotional or, crazy is we don't see politics as a religion. The left sees politics as a religion, okay? It's a religion to them. It is 100% by any means possible, this is our God, government is our God. And so when it comes to them losing power or their, idols get voted out or potentially voted out, they don't go for it. They go nuts. And so you're seeing what that looks like in Venezuela. Now, there's some people calling and saying that this thing is going to erupt into a CW. I read other reports at the very end where security forces were starting to gain control again. And that's the problem. Maduro is reliant on the military and the police forces in the favelas. Some have gone and switched over. Others are basically still on board with Maduro. And so there's a bit of a power grab going on. But I think ultimately he will maintain power. And he will crack down. People go back to doing what they have to stay alive. Because it's basically, they literally, there's stories where people have broken into the zoo and taken down like prize winning horses and rhinos and eaten them like bushmeat. And the reason why is because they're starving. And that's what happens, it's communism 101. So that is the problem in Venezuela, and Maduro is holding on to power by any means possible. And from here, you can see it erupt. I heard some reports, but I didn't get it backed up, that Maduro was trying to leave the country, but I don't see that happening. Another report came out and said that Miraflores, which is the palace, essentially, of Maduro in Caracas, it was not protected properly, and they were worried it was going to get overrun. I think Maduro's got enough thugs. He's going to maintain control. So that's kind of where things are at right now. But they're taking down statues, they're taking down posters, they're taking down everything they can, and they're trying to remove him from office, and it's a tough thing to do. That's the problem when you get in and you're able to control the military and everything else and make it so no matter what, the results go your way. Power corrupts, and other countries in the world, I won't name any specifically, but they're starting to see this. The governments are not in line with what the people want, and the people are like, all right, well, screw it. I'll vote for that party that I never even thought I would vote for. Pinch my nose, hold it up in the air, and cast my ballot, and just say screw it, because it's so terrible already. It doesn't matter what I vote for. And so you're seeing these very hardcore groups and these very specific groups get into office in these parliamentarian systems. But you're getting the result of what happened like in France. Oh, by the way, France, they had a fiber optic attacks. They've had major attacks on their train. They had major attack on their power. And now they've had a major attack on their fiber optics. I heard that some guy was arrested. I couldn't tell you that right now or not. But the Olympics is getting messed with pretty hard. So probably new neighbors there too, because they're not real happy about what's going on. Oh, 500-person communist march in Philadelphia today. Great. So that's kind of what's going on in the world right now. I was going to do my Crisis Report. If you are not on the Crisis Report, it is youtube.com/@Crisis Report. If I find it in the morning, and I will probably, I will post it onto the Substack. But I can't give you what I don't got. And Gmail, for whatever reason, is taking this thing and slid it into a corner for whatever. So, but the good news is I do go through this every day, all day, and that's what I can remember. So major knife attacks, major attacks on infrastructure in France, major attacks on the civilian population for voting in Venezuela. Russia and Germany are giving each other the bird. Germany is saying, we don't care about your intermediate missile thing. Russia's like, well, screw you. We're going to do whatever the heck we want. Here in America, Jake the Snake Sullivan and his buddies are saying everything's cool and fine in Israel. And in Israel, Netanyahu and his guys are trying to figure out some way where they can strike back at Hezbollah, and Hezbollah not turn it into a larger war. But the problem is, no matter what they do, it's going to turn into a larger war. That's another thing. Hezbollah has taken all of their military systems and rockets and stuff, and they have moved them away. They have scattered them throughout the country because they know that war is approaching. And so that is that. That is your major synopsis of what's going on in the world. I'd much rather read from my script and tell you everything down to the last little details, because I'm sure I'm missing a lot. But that's why I do it. Let me just talk grand scheme and why I do what I do here and what I do over on Crisis Report. Crisis Report is just straight news. For all the people out there saying, get to the point, it's like you can't get to more of a point than what I read over there. I've seen what other people do. I've seen other videos, seen other, content creators, and there's nothing wrong with them. But I do it because it's the only place I've seen where it's like just rapid fire, this going on, this going on, this going on. And then with a little bit of analysis by a guy that actually knows what's going on. And it's basically given some good advice. I haven't gotten everything right, but I've gotten a good amount right, So here on PrepperNow, this is the conversation. This is where I come and I talk about stuff and politics and everything else. And the reason why is because, well, I think we need both. I think you need a conversation, but at the same time, I think you need some no BS news to just kind of rock it out. I don't have time, really, to just sit here and listen to YouTube channel after YouTube channel. I've got my selected few. I will listen to them when I can, in the car usually, driving home from whatever. And, I want to support YouTube. I want to support all the preppers. Unfortunately, I was not able to be on Magic Prepper's live stream tonight. I like going there and being his mod. I've not been able to get over to Angry Prepper in a while. Same thing. I like being his mod and everything else. But I have been out and about in, a little kind of a smaller but fun vacation. It is interesting to see everything going on. The $35 trillion debt. Let's talk about that real quick. Last night, of course, I was talking about Canada. I have seen it firsthand. Canada is a really cool country with great people. Everybody's nice. Someone, too, the border guard told me that, and I don't know if it's true, so if you're Canadian, if you know this is true or not, border guard said that in Quebec, which was where we were for our last end, we were leaving and exiting Canada from Quebec into Maine, so we could go down to Acadia, which is why I posted the picture earlier tonight. But the border guard, super nice guy, really cool, said that in Quebec, they have to speak to you when you're giving you services or anything. If you're in a school, if you're in a diner, if you're in a little quick shop, convenience store, all services have to be done in French first to maintain the language. And then after they figure out that you don't speak French, which I don't, I can say Macron, but I can't After that, they basically can talk to you in English. I don't know if that's true or not. I believe him. I have no reason not to believe him. But yeah, we checked all the boxes. My wife got a beautiful meal in a sweet little countryside Quebecois restaurant right on the border, and we went to Acadia, and then we went to Bar Harbor. We split a lobster roll and some lobster mac and cheese, and it was phenomenal. Kids had a good time. We spent way too much money, but you know what? I want my kids to know stuff. I want my kids to know the world. I want them to know that there are all kinds of interesting and strange people out there. I don't want them to, be sheltered too much. But one thing we have figured out is that the cities of the world are stressful, and they're not fun to be in. You go through a light, and it's turning yellow. And in Canada, all of them have like stoplight cameras. So we're worried about all that. When we went to Iceland, we got a ticket in the mail a month after that was about $220. So there's all kinds of stuff. I was explaining to my daughter, and I said, cities are cool and fun, and there's great restaurants, and there's really, cool people and a lot to do, and they're exciting, and there's music and street life and yada yada and festivals. But ultimately down beneath it all, there's a lot of rules to follow. There's a lot of freedoms that you give up, and it's expensive. And that was proven because we were there doing our thing. And then we went from city mode in Montreal, which is a big city, to, out in the country and into a national park. And we hiked. Incredible hike tonight. We basically were up on Cadillac Mountain and went around and found this little path and went over. And when we got up there, we're basically in a cloud. We're in a cloud. The cloud's all around us. And then we decided to travel and hike a little bit, and we went over to the area that was overlooking Bar Harbor. And at that point, I don't know if God listened, but at one point I said, don't worry, God is, he's going to let us see some stuff. And sure enough, the clouds started to part, and it was absolutely magical. Seeing the Bar Harbor and then Bar Island and the little island chain, and very beautiful park. Great hiking too. We didn't see a moose. Saw a dead moose in very northern Maine, right outside the border with Canada. We did see a dead moose on the side of the road that had been taken over into a DOT parking lot. So we checked that box. Not in the way we wanted. But yeah, we have goals and we want to do that. So tomorrow we're going to go check out Portland, Maine, and get some really good coffee and all that. But yeah, the world is still on fire. The crisis report was tabulated, but whatever happened with Gmail happened. And I've at least given you the gist of all things going on. So all eyes on Venezuela right there. That's Chavez. By the way, 20 years ago, Venezuela was the richest country in South America. Oil independent and everything else. And then Chavez got into power magically. Go look up the way that they choose people in there and the way they did it in the early 2000s, because you'll find a company that is an interesting origin and is used elsewhere. But yeah, he got in and turned the country on its ear and basically turned them into communists. And now the whole thing is just absolute poop. And Maduro is not leaving. And the reason why is because, well, he's a leftist dictator, and government is their religion. And it's by any means possible. And I'm seeing elements of that in other areas of the world. And you may insert what countries you think those are on your own. I'm not going to deliberately say stuff, and sometimes I have omission of things, and the reason why is because you're smart. You can figure it out, and I don't need to just spell it out for you. I think we all know what's going on in the world. I think we do. So Taiwan and China are just sitting there doing their thing. We'll see. I think China's waiting for major chaos in the world. Russia and Ukraine are still fighting each other. Ukraine is a black hole of all of our money, now to the point where we're $35 trillion in debt, and pretty soon the interest payment will take up all of our money. And the only way to get out of it will be to inflate the money and to make it so everything is super expensive, and it's already happening. I've noticed too, everything now, you go to a restaurant and sandwiches used to be $10 and now they're $15 to $20, and that's to keep them, alive, keep the restaurants alive, because the restaurants are struggling too. So not in the rich areas. You could definitely tell that Bar Harbor is a bit of an enclave to the most progressive amongst us. So things are doing well over there. But yeah, that is the deal. So my apologies. As soon as I find this crisis report, I think I will. I will post it on the Substack, PrepperNow.substack.com. Links in the description. If you'd like to support, I appreciate you if you can and do. I would love it if you could hit that like button. Video yesterday got 12,000 views already. So for me, that's a lot. That means things are going on. Now, I think that was also because people were worried about Venezuela. Do keep your eyes on Venezuela. It could become a really, really, really nasty thing there. So we'll just have to see. But I think the computer's telling me it's time to go. I'm tired. I'm going to wake up, sleep in tomorrow, and then we're going to leisurely go back down the East Coast, back into the PrepperNow world. And I appreciate you. All right, friends? So pretty please with sugar on top. Hit the like button. Do the subscribe thing if you're new here. And we will see you on the next one. God bless. PrepperNow.